Well, welcome back, everyone, to GMID23. I'm Deborah Gardner, your host for Hospitality Today Live, the #1 hospitality show. And we want to thank you all for continuing to join with us here on this exciting edition of GMID, which means Global Meetings Industry Day. My co-host, Randy Clark with Efficient Health Solutions, who happens to be our official sponsor again this year, and I have the opportunity to talk with and share with you the amazing variety of top industry leaders while celebrating GMID 23. And now we have the ultimate pleasure to talk with someone that has been in the hospitality industry surprisingly, probably longer than me. And I'm talking about Joseph Bojanowski. He's gonna kill me for this. Joseph Bojanowski, I think I said that right this time, who is actually the president of the PM Hotel Group, leading the growth and diversification with his entrepreneurial spirit. Joseph serves on several respected brand advisory councils, including the Hilton All-Suites Advisory Council, the Marriott Owners Advisory Council, and the Sheraton Brand Advisory Board. Now, we all get the chance to meet him and hear his take on the industry and so much more. So let's get this going right now. To the show, we have with us Joseph, and I am going to say this right, Bojanowski. Right, Joseph?
That's right. You got it right. Yes. Well done. Well done.
I love how it just flows, but if I can just get it right, it definitely is beautiful. So happy GMID, sir.
Thank you. Pleasure to be with you today.
Well, we're so excited to have you, and especially me, because I've had the opportunity to have the pleasure and opportunity to meet you before. I'm just thrilled that you're here on the show. I even had the distinct honor to be one of your presenters at one of your prestigious employee conferences, and that was at the Hilton in Melbourne, Florida. I want to say 2019. It was so much fun. And I have to tell you, that was an enlightening experience because not all hotel brands do that. And I just love the core value that you and PM Hotel Group has. It's all about our people first mentality, empowers our associates to be themselves and do their best work. And when people are motivated by a common purpose plus passion, anything is possible. And it's funny because it took me a while to figure out how you pulled this off, because and it wasn't until I met you again when I was presenting for the Hotel Interactive Group, and there you were, and we teamed up on a game day. And I thought, yep, that explains why you put people first and the thought process you do, because you're just so much fun. And I even still have our game our game tag. We were the gold team.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
We didn't win, but we had fun.
Yeah, and that explained everything why PM Hotel Group is in a great position that it is. And not only are you fun, but you're an avid runner too, I see.
I am an avid runner. I have run over 25 marathons throughout the U.S. and in a number of different countries as well. So
wow,
it's a passion of mine. I've been doing it for a while. So
oh my gosh, I totally admire you. My knees would give out in the first mile. So And that's why I swim. It's much easier to be buoyant than the hardcore running that you do. So congratulations on that. But thank you again for being here. For people that may not be familiar with PM Hotels, can you share with us, a little bit more of what you all are about? Because of course you put people first, and that's one thing I noticed. What else do they need to know about PM Hotels Group?
Sure. So PM Hotel Group has been in business for over 25 years. We, at our core, are a hotel management company. We manage 70 plus hotels throughout the US, and some of those are affiliated with brands like Marriott and Hilton and Hyatt and IHG and others. And we've got a great collection of independent hotels that express their own identity through service rituals and design in other ways. I think one of the things that sort of has driven our success and allowed us to continue to be successful today and coming off a big growth year last year with a couple of acquisitions of other companies are our core values. And in 2019, that was a human resources conference we were doing, and there was all of our HR leaders and our people first leaders. And our core values around teamwork and working hard but having fun doing it and doing it together, because it's a lot more fun to do it together, and the results are a lot better when you get that diversity and inclusion, everything that comes with the team and the perspectives of everyone, and respect while we're doing that, and listening to people and really understanding where they're coming from, what those ideas are. Entrepreneurial spirit is another one, right? We've been really tested on that one over the last few years of kind of thinking of new and better and different ways to do business, and people who are driven. And like, I have a passion for running. We like people who have a passion for something, and that passion, that when it is brought into their workplace, regardless of what it's for, just is a driving force in the workplace. And so we're super excited about what lies in front of us, and proud of what we've been doing in the past as well.
Well, it certainly stands out, and I've been able to be involved with multiple hotel companies and organizations, and PM Hotel Group really stands out among them. I just know that the business philosophy on a quest for excellence certainly shows with the culture you and your team have fostered to empower your people, and that's very, very appreciative. But definitely moving on to why we are here today regarding GMID. Can you actually start us out with this conversation? What does GMID mean to you?
That's a good question. The
Global Meetings Industry Day.
Yeah. In the hotel business, and when you look at, particularly in our portfolio, the type of hotels that we have, and the large amount of meeting space that we have, almost 40% of our total business comes from meetings. And in addition to that, we're in urban locations where there are convention and visitor centers, which are key drivers of hotel demand in those markets, like Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia and Portland, Oregon, and Dallas and in Orlando. And it's been a tough go of it in the meetings industry since the middle of 2000 or early 2020, when the pandemic sort of shut all that down. And then there was fear about meeting together and the implications of that from a health perspective. And then there were budget concerns around being able to meet. And then the whole issues surrounding remote work. And it's a key driver of our business. It's a key driver of economies in most major cities. And it's critical to the success of restoring urban living and activity, as well as within our hotels as well.
That definitely explains it, because it is one big situation where we have to embrace, not only the meetings and events industry, as we've talked about in our previous broadcasts with one of our guests, the leisure, you've got the BT, and trying to balance it all, trying to make it all work. And I know that's a tough position to be in when, you look at your hotels and say, how can we improve on this area when it's, not working, but yet it's working over here. And I think, without the balance and trying to get everybody, please everybody, because of everybody's got different needs, is tough. But GMID, I think, helps us at least realize the importance of what we do and how we do it, and hope the rest of the world, global wise, can see that as well. And what we try to bring to the table to accommodate everyone is definitely key. But very, very admirable for what you do and what you do with your organization to make that happen. Now, if we rewind a couple years, all the industry experts, predicted that the leisure would lead the recovery, because that's what it's been doing in the past, followed by business transient, and then eventually group business kind of would limp across the threshold, kind of. But yet these last two segments have inverted a bit. It seems like this time meetings have been kind of the real bright spot in the recovery story. And right now, it seems like there's a lot of last minute in-person meetings that are being scheduled. And to do that, it seems like they're going to have to pay the premium because they want the flexibility, because, you don't know what the economy is going to do, which actually is creating, I think, what is known as compression that drives pricing power. Now, if big groups are coming to relatively close to their dates, wanting to confirm close to their dates, that does have a ripple effect, I would imagine, on transient, whether it be business or leisure pricing. Could you detail the contours of the rebounding demand that we're experiencing with the clientele at PM Hotel Group, or what you are hearing from your colleagues in the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the bright spots of this is that we, as an industry, have recognized, but also other industries, that being together, being in person, is essential to the success of businesses. And so think whether it's collaboration or creativity or culture building or relationship building, all the fundamentals of a successful business. We've seen that despite the advances in technology like we have here today, it doesn't replace meeting in person, and I don't think it ever will. And so what we saw in our company across the portfolio, and I think what the industry saw as a whole, was that in Q4 of last year, there was a unexpected, significantly large rebounding of in-person meetings. And there are a number of groups that study it. And so I think in Q4 in the US, the industry surpassed the number of meetings that took place in 2019. And now for 2023, the forecast is to be at 110% of 2019, which was our previous high. And to your point earlier, it's sort of inverted, right? Where we thought, oh, business transient, like they'll come back, maybe take a 2 or 3 days and then stay over for sort of a leisure, like vacation kind of thing. But group is back. Group is a driving force of our success in our hotels and our ability to hit budget and to surpass 2019 as well. And I think it's a testament to the fundamental need to be together and all the benefits that brings. So it was a little tricky there for a few years, and we didn't really know that, like, oh my God, we're just going to be meeting online forever, and that's the end of it. So we went through all these exercises of setting up technology to have hybrid meetings and all that kind of stuff, which are just getting used less and less now. And it's great to see. And people are traveling and people want to be together, and experiences that you share also, and that build relationships that are the fundamentals for business and other things are a essential component of meetings.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And that's where we are today. Are there any visibility in the trends in 2023 for the meetings and events industry? Do you feel like this is going to continue throughout the year and it's only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger? Or are there going to be any hiccups? Are there, well, there's so much uncertainty right now. Are there anything that you would like to add to and your perspective and maybe possible solutions to those perspectives?
Yeah, for us, and again, it's 13,000-ish kind of rooms in a lot of different markets, 20 across the U.S. So it's the third week of March, but by the first week of March, we had already achieved 100% of our group budgets for Q1. We are entering into Q2 somewhere north of 85% of our group budget. So we're feeling pretty good about what's happening in Q2 from a group and meeting perspective. Q3 is okay. And in Q4, ADRs are good and pricing power is there and all that. And but we do have a little bit of concern. We're not behind pace, but with all the uncertainty around the recent banking issues and the likelihood that there'll be some increases, continued increase in interest rates and the impact that has on businesses and capital spending and new projects and all that kind of stuff has the potential to slow us down a little bit. And if you take that a little bit further, in that services sector is one of the key drivers currently of inflation, and the Fed's trying to tap that down a little bit. We're kind of right in the bullseye, right?
I love the way you say tap that down a bit because we always face challenges in this industry, and I know there's some of the biggest challenges can be environmental, social. How are you dealing with staff shortages in hotels and retention of team members and dealing with hotel technology? Any of those that you see continuing?
Yeah, so it was super interesting, and right, I think we were, along with a lot of others, a little surprised by how quickly the business, particularly meeting business, came back last year, and the volume of attendance, and a lot of our groups were exceeding their blocks. And then it was like, great news, their clients are coming back, and bad news is we may not be able to service those needs of theirs. So it was it is a challenge that we continue to face as an industry, and if you look at the majority of the job growth on those job reports that come out every month from the Fed and from the U.S. government, that this services sector and hotels are leading the way in the hiring of new hires. However, we're still super short, right, in staffing. And I think one thing that was really loud and clear from our guests last year was that we were charging a lot more than we were in 2019, and the services were not at the level that they were in 2019. So they didn't see the relationship between the higher pricing and any kind of amenities or service levels. And so we heard that loud and clear. And I think it's across the brands, and it's across sort of our industry, that there's just been a renewed focus on how to maybe not a renewed focus, a new focus on how to sort of shift the way that we are delivering service to our guests, and where and how we can implement technology, whether it's something even like robotic vacuums that you put in the meeting room at the end of the day, and it cleans the room by the morning when people are coming in, the room's clean and ready to go for them, to flexibility in scheduling and apps that allow people to choose their schedules and allow for guests and meeting planners to communicate to us very directly through those apps, and for us to use bots and artificial intelligence within those around standard questions like, hey, I need some more towels in my room, or hey, I need the temperature changed in my meeting room, and it's like an AI/bot response that sure will be there in 15 minutes, or we'll change the temperature now, and the efficiencies that come from that, because for two reasons. One, because of the financial implications of what happened in 2021 and 22, we need to be more efficient, and our margins need to be a little bit different than they were. The wage inflation of roughly 40% from 19 to now. Then you look at energy costs on top of that. So when you have a large ballroom and there's lots of people in there, and energy is up 25-30% from a couple of years ago, there's got to be ways to be more efficient. So I think we are, as we've always been, focused on our associates. We've shifted our training and launched a new training platform where much of it is online now, and it's user driven rather than kind of historically what we did, which was on property and then pair you up with kind of a buddy system. I don't see that shortage is going away. When you look at the people that left our industry and the workplace in general, like 1.5 million of them aren't coming back, and we have a failure by local and federal government to address the immigration issue, which would solve some of this problem for us, for jobs that aren't open that would be paying income taxes and other types of taxes, with sales taxes and other things with those earnings. That there's those solutions are a little ways off. So I think for us, retaining associates, training associates in a way that is a little more efficient, and then use of technology, apps, robotics, all that kind of stuff to get a little bit more efficient, understanding that our staffing battles probably will never be where they were before.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And PM Hotels, I have to tell you, is ahead of the game. You're doing the training, you're doing the research, you're implementing what is needed, and you're recognizing the consumer's expectations. And there's a lot of them. During these past couple of years, the industry, shame on us, had not advanced as much as we could have. But the consumer did. The consumer's behaviors have changed, and now they have these expectations, and now our industry has to really catch up. And you mentioned about taxes. I have to share the story, and it wasn't a PM hotel, but I was at a resort, and I brought, as you said, we've got that leisure travel going on where we bring our families, and so I brought my family with me and to this resort, and even my dog. And I knew there was going to be a dog fee, which is expected. But when I checked out, surprisingly, there was a tax on that fee. So my dog was taxed. And it was funny because the next day, the Biden administration said that, it's time for, resorts, hotels, and vendors out there start disclosing their fees up front. And he calls them junk fees. So I think not only the expectation is there from the consumer, but we also want to make sure we don't surprise them, catch them off guard, make sure that they come with a full-on great experience, and from when they walked on the property to when they left, to where there is no question they will be back. So I think that's key. The expectations are there.
Yes, and I would take issue with those junk fee, that junk fee description.
I know, right?
Yeah, bundled fees is, bundled pricing is a little bit different than disclosing additional fees that are there. And I think we do a pretty good job as an industry disclosing those fees. They're not bundled, and there are some reasons why you don't want them bundled, because we do have some competitors in the Airbnb and other spaces that aren't subject to the same type of disclosure rules and that we are. So I wouldn't call them junk fees. I'd call them maybe an ability to, So
got it. Interesting. Well, okay, then we know that that things are changing at PM Hotel Group, and that's exciting for sure. And now I kind of want to. I've been anxious to ask you about this, because according to the most recent construction pipeline trend report from Lodging Economics, all stages of the hotel construction in the U.S. really experienced a year-over-year growth, especially in the fourth quarter. Projects are scheduled to start construction in the next 12 months. And those are up 14% by, projects reaching all-time high counts of over, 2,300 projects and close to 300,000 rooms. And I think the hottest markets are Dallas, Phoenix, Atlanta, Los Angeles, and Nashville. I guess those are the leading areas. The 2023 outlook looks really, really strong as it continues to recover from, the lows experienced through the past years. Yet the hotel CMBS maturity debt extension is coming up. And I think we talked about this. It was talked about at the Hotel Interactive conference. What will this actually be harder for us, for hotel companies to get money or renegotiate while interest rates are high now? And how does this look for PM Hotels if you want to bring on more hotels?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things there. Number one, there were a lot of hotels that were permanently closed. They closed temporarily in 2021, but have not reopened and are permanently closed. So there was some supply reduction there too. And when you look at that year-over-year growth, those are coming off of really low numbers. So I think from a historical basis, it's still probably below in the U.S. as a whole. What the annual supply growth that we experienced, for at least a decade before 2020. You're right; those markets are potentially being oversupplied, and particularly, in Nashville, where we have product, in Dallas, where we have product, and it's a concern. And I think maybe muting that a little bit, or that may change that a little bit, is, I think, to the point that you just brought, is that they're in the construction pipeline. And while debt financing is really, really difficult for existing hotels, it's extremely difficult for development projects, for construction. And the LTC is lower than it typically is. So the amount of equity that needs to be put in now, because those valuations are a little bit different on maybe some of these projects aren't going to come to fruition. So second thing is, as you mentioned on the CMBS, is that, there's debt maturities coming. They're going to either require significant curtailment to get them refinanced, and then the rate's going to be up on top of that. So I think it's a real issue that's going to be facing us, and I don't know exactly how that's going to work out. It's been there's been extensions and discussions over the last couple of years, and it feels like as the values of the hotels get back to par or better on the value of the loan, that there may be some forced transactions there. But then on the other side of that, who's buying it if you can't get financed? So
right.
So maybe for cash buyers, some of the larger REITs and others, maybe they're in a better position to take advantage of that situation. But I would expect that the volume of transactions this year, because of those issues, is going to be higher.
Interesting. Okay. And so what about the, top 25 markets? It seems as though their occupancy is really strong. It seems like the locations, I would love your perspective on this, because the locations of the small metro towns are different than the urban downtown areas. It seems like the urban has dropped about 2.2%, whereas the small metro towns have increased 21%. Why the difference now? What's going on with people choosing location over location? Do you see any difference? What's your perspective on that with your hotels? Yeah,
I think the response to urban and so urban, for all was experienced a significant decline, right? I think it was initially around safety concerns, and you just don't want to be around that many people, and with the potential of getting COVID or whatever else that might be there. And then sort of compounding that, the lack of return to office. And when you look at core urban areas, that office density is significant and obviously more than suburban. And then if the occupancy rates are anywhere between 40 and 60%, maybe the people you used to go see aren't in the office anymore. People are working remotely. And then there's, the leisure component was lacking there with, if you even look at New York with theaters being closed and things like that, restaurants that failed and are now out of business, and those kind of things that maybe don't make urban as attractive. The interesting thing, though, is year to date, because they were the slowest in recovery, urban RevPAR recovery in January, February is outpacing all of the other sort of geo segments of suburban, airport, et cetera. So urban's coming back, and it will. And a part of that also was conventions, right? And if you look at conventions and how they book, and they need to book it, and typically book a few years in advance, that convention calendars are starting to catch up. Like Washington, D.C., where I'm located, was sort of at the bottom of that list, but had some great conventions and some meetings in January and February, and RevPAR is up 59% in those 2 months over prior year. So there's a lot of good stuff. The Orlando market obviously is killing it. So it's rebounding and it's recovering, and those will probably be from a percentage basis, the largest recovery markets this year, simply because they were the lowest last year, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that these markets did a pretty good job with maintaining rate integrity. So ADR is above 2019. And as demand comes back into that rate structure, it should be a relatively good scenario for urban in 2023. And again, meetings coming back and people's event slowly but surely coming back into offices.
Yeah. It's not our first rodeo. We've seen this before.
Yeah. Not quite this bad. We thought it was terrible in 2009 and 10, and everything's relative. Right. That was actually not bad.
Yeah, it's the cycle. It's the cycle for sure. Yep. Well, this has been great. Now, before we let you go, and thank you again for being with us, are there any personal goals for you? What's next for you as the president of PM Hotel Group? I'm not a established goals at the personal goals anyway. Or on the first of the year, like New Year's goals. I tend to, as a company, the executive committee, we get together at the end of November, December. We have meetings around strategy. We talk about opportunities that we have within our company to get better and improve on things and deliver in a better way for our associates and for our guests. And then we kind of look externally at where the headwinds are coming, or potential headwinds are coming, and put together strategic plans to address those things. And so our goals are to continue to deliver a culture that attracts and retains great associates. Our goals are to continue to be an owner-centric organization that knows and delivers on the objectives for each and every one of our hotel ownership groups. And then from falling into that sort of value of respect to the company, we do strongly believe that we should be giving back to the communities in which we do business. It's the right thing to do. We want them to be healthy, and we want to thrive within those communities as well. And then we strongly believe in the planet, respect for the planet as well. So we've got a lot of things going on the sort of the sustainability side and community giving, and we've got a great we have another leadership conference coming up very soon in the next couple of months. We have a super cool community event happening there that'll be in Baltimore in April. Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Busy. And always planning on new creative things. And again, I appreciate hearing about the people first. That makes a lot of sense. And it's a great culture. that I've experienced at PM Hotel Group. And so I'm sure there's going to be people that would love to follow up with you. And I've got your information down here for them to, whoops, I think I have it. Nope, I got this one. There we go. For people to contact you. Is there any other way that they can contact you? Or on social media? Should they see you at an industry conference coming up?
LinkedIn, Instagram, social media, email, text.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Well, this has been a delight. Thank you so much for joining us on this special celebratory day of GMID23. So I'm sure that you'll, and again, you wore blue. I love it. That's the color for GMID too as well.
Right.
So
I can check. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Joseph. We really appreciate you being with us and sharing your knowledge and expertise. So have a great day, and we will see you somewhere in one of the conferences sooner or later.
Thanks, Deborah. It's great spending time with you today.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Well, there you go. Did you not enjoy that fabulous information from Joseph? I tell you what, PM Hotel Group is an amazing organization, and I love their culture. I love their training that they do for their employees, and making sure that they meet those expectations for their customers as well. So now I'd like to bring on my co-host, Randy Clark, to recap exactly what Joseph had to mention. So hi, Randy.
Hey, Deborah. Great segment. Joseph, he hit it right on the head. It's so exciting to hear about the rebound of our industry. I came from 23 years ago. I started on the hotel side, and the properties that I work for, they were all about making it people first, right? It
really was.
About the people, the core values: work hard, have fun. The entrepreneurship that PM Hotels incorporates into their daily schedule is fantastic. From my experiences years ago, I lived on an island in Hawaii, and I lived with people who weren't really necessarily came from this country, and they're a little bit shy. And I had to go to them and just say, hey, you know what? When you see me coming around the hotel, have fun, enjoy, say, hey, Randy, nice to see you. Thank you for bringing these people, because it was all about the people that I was bringing to the island to win that business, right? And they embraced it. If I had to, and my colleagues had to just let them know it's okay to say hello and just don't go about your work. And it sounds like that's what PM Hotels is doing for their people. So it's exciting to hear what's going on. I also liked hearing about how they said hotels affect the success of communities.
Tell us more about what you thought about that.
Well, I have the pleasure of being on the Economic Development Board for the city of Corinth in Texas. And we are a small community in North Texas. And the projects that we're looking at right now are centered around mixed use. So the hotel is the key. And we're bringing in hotels and mixed use facilities, condo hotels. But there's also restaurants incorporated and shops. So that aspect is building the community. And there's different projects in our small community that are based on just that: building hotels, attracting people, building commerce. It starts with the hotels and the training and the people and the excellence.
Yeah. And, when this all comes together, it really starts with the leader. And Joseph Bojanowski definitely is a great leader. He knows his products. He knows his people. He knows the service abilities. He knows so much. Because I've gotten to know him. He really is a brilliant man. So as a leader, he seems to have all the characteristics needed to guide, such an organization.
It was great to hear.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was a lot of fun. So thank you so much. And the best part was he mentioned about being very efficient, which actually is the name of your company.
Wait, here we go.
So that was perfect when he said, it's all about being efficient. I'm like, yeah, efficient solutions with Randy Clark. And again, we're going to hear more about it later today on your organization as well. So thank you so much for joining us. And we will definitely be back in a few moments pertaining to our next guest. And of course, if you're thinking about it, we're talking about it right here on Hospitality Today Live. Stay tuned.